People in bad neighborhoods, what unwritten rules do you follow to stay safe? Mind your own business. Don't look terrified. Don't make eye contact. Be aware of your surroundings. Just be mindful of your surroundings. If you know that a certain street or corner is full of trouble, then avoid it. Don't go butting your head into other people's business and where it does belong. Most of the time, when you hear of violence in a dangerous neighborhood, it's from two parties that already dislike each other and looking to cause trouble to begin with. Just take care of yourself and have a good head on your shoulders and you'll be fine. I live by myself, female, in the ghetto. Park car close to the door. Don't hang out outside. Be friendly to neighbors, but not overly friendly. Don't let their drama become yours. If you feel unsafe in a situation, leave. Always lock your door, even if you are just taking out the trash. I also have had a few creepy neighbors make comments about me being an attractive woman living alone, and I have told them that I live with my husband, he just works overnights. I have guns in my apartment, but have never had to use them. Always remember, when you hear gunshots, get down and get away from the window. No makeup, dress like a bum, walk with a limp, drool, piss yourself. Oh, and talk to yourself. I'm a white male with a black co-worker as a teammate. Now, I'm not racist or anything close to it, but I live in a predominantly white rural area, so I walk/quack like a redneck. After my friend moved, he asked if I could come by his new place in a closed large city and help him move some stuff after work. Sure, no problem dude, where do you live? He proceeds to tell me about he is living in the hood of the city and that upon getting to his road I would need to take off my white shirt and either hang it on the antenna or wave it out the window to show I didn't mean any trouble. He actually kept this going long enough to have me, a mid-30s person, second guessing if he was yanking my chain or being serious. Needless to say, I went, and it turned out he is in a more white neighborhood than I am. I still catch grief about it though. When you move in, cover any expensive items with a sheet when it's in public view. If you purchase any large objects, haul the trash somewhere else. Do not leave anything like a box for a flat screen TV or even a microwave on the curb for trash pickup. Thieves and burglars look for those kinds of things. Get a decent sized dog and walk it frequently if you can to show you have a big dog. Carry cash as infrequently as possible, or keep a disposable wallet with some random things in it, so should someone ask for cash, you can pull it out and show them that you don't have any. When walking, always look dead ahead. Don't look down or around. I wouldn't suggest carrying a gun unless you're well trained and confident. A taser, stun gun, or pepper spray should suffice. You can usually find bear spray at an outdoor outfitter. It's basically a huge can of pepper spray. For home protection, a pump-action shotgun is usually a pretty good deterrent. You'll probably never even need to buy shells, since the sound is unmistakable. Put motion sensor security lighting by all doors, if you're able to. Act confident, be aware of your surroundings, walk with purpose, like you're going somewhere, not taking a walk, and don't make valuables known, no headphones in, no talking on your iPhone, etc. Don't wear obviously expensive looking clothes, accessories, or jewelry, and don't flash your electronics either. Try to blend into the neighborhood. Don't walk around gawking at things like a tourist or someone that isn't familiar with their surroundings. Try to appear confident. Wear comfortable shoes that are easy to walk or run, if necessary, in. Just use common sense and street smarts. Don't take the shortcut through the dark alleyway where three shady looking characters are milling around a fire in a trash can. Don't whip out a huge wad of cash to take out your bus fare. I live in a high crime area as well. Most of the time it won't be an issue. Crime is very rarely random, although it isn't often planned exactly. More meaning to say that you are most likely to be the victim of a crime committed by someone you know. Just be careful who you choose to be friends with. Also, don't flaunt the nice things you have. For example, don't put your TV in front of a window where people can see you have nice things and target your house. And don't wear fancy clothes and jewelry when walking down the street. I live in Tijuana, Mexico. It has its dangerous parts, and my neighborhood is no exception. My best tips are to have your keys ready when walking out to your car, unlock the car, get in, and lock it immediately. Never make it obvious that you have nice things or money. When you get home at night, always take a quick look around before you unlock the door and get out and go inside right away. I've never had any problems with any gangs in the area, though I have never ever tried to befriend anyone either. I live in a rougher part of town. The real crap show / whole neighborhood is less than a mile from me. I live in a massive suburban spread of a city. It is different from man to woman, but tell her to carry herself like she is not afraid. Also give change out to the neighborhood bums. If you walk by them every day and they ask for change, give it to them. If you do, they will like you and in turn provide a certain protection. They will know you and like you. Not everybody is a rapist and murderer. Don't be afraid to talk to your neighbors, no matter how bad they smell. Mace is effective. It will stop a bear in its tracks. Get 2 canisters and practice the draw on one of them. It is just like a gun. Practice makes perfect. Certain purses will be equipped with a mace holster, or sew one in yourself, so she knows right where it is, in case of the worst. I grew up in a really poor neighborhood in a pretty big city. There were gangs, and one time a drive-by outside my apartment. Yet I was a girl who played outside, took the city bus, and walked to my friends in the school bus, and was never bothered. First of all, she should mind her own business as much as possible. The gang members in my neighborhood rode those bikes with the giant speaker. One time as a kid, I told one guy I thought his bike was cool. He didn't smile, but he said thanks and rode away. At bus stops I read a book, but I knew who was around me too. She will not want to flash expensive things. I don't care if she has an iPhone. Listening to a very cheap MP3 player is safer. Headphones in general are good. You don't seem threatening or like some kind of narc if you're minding your own business listening to music. She should act like she belongs and is just going about her day, and as others have said, show no fear. Definitely have her carry mace or a stun gun at all times and keep it ready to use at night. Good door locks are important too. Despite all those precautions, I love where I grew up. I'd say walk with your head up. Don't stare at folks, but don't shudder like a bitch. People are less likely to mess with you if you look dominant. Walk with your back straight and just be cool. If people start messing with you, then just keep walking. If someone is asking for something, then just say no bluntly. Don't show fear and don't back down. If someone is testing you, you have to demand respect and know in your mind that you will hurt someone if they fuck with you. The majority of communication is visual. You speak with your movements. Source: I'm a white dude who hangs around lots of ghetto black dudes in bad neighborhoods sometimes. You just gotta be cool and chill, you know. People are people just like you. The big things that I follow are: 1. Don't wear flashy, expensive clothing. A plain tee and jeans will do. 2. Act like a normal Joe, just minding your own business. 3. Act like you know the area. Criminals will often target people that seem scared or confused. 4. Be smart. Don't take a less populated path. Stay with other people. 5. And most importantly, if anything does happen, God forbid, do what they tell you. If they want your wallet, give it to them quickly. It's not worth your life. But if they seem to want to hurt you, then fight back and be as loud as possible. My wife visits her sister-in-law in a really bad neighborhood sometimes. I was pretty freaked up about it at first, and I told her what a bad idea it was, but I ride a motorcycle, so it's not really my place to lecture her. Not going about at night helps. Mace helps. Having good street smarts helps. Don't act like you're unfamiliar with the area. Act like you belong there. Her doctor's reply is good, except for the eye contact thing. I see someone took issue with don't make eye contact. Yeah, if you're a woman, making eye contact might not have the desired effect. You also don't go looking for it, but if you get some, you leave just enough eye contact not to appear weak, no more. More is starting crap. Most gang related violence is between gangs. Just don't go anywhere at night. Go during morning/noon. Don't act like you're alone. I've had to work outside during nights in very questionable neighborhoods. Be confident, mind your surroundings, and stay off trouble streets if you can. Some may have said to carry a gun. I'm the biggest supporter of guns you can find, but I'll admit in this situation it most likely won't help any. Make sure you have someone with her, if possible, and just be safe. I hope it's not Memphis. That wasteland of crime and sadness is a terrible place. I grew up in an area that is notoriously dangerous, and since I was a scrawny kid I came up with a couple rules which have served me well. 1. Body language is everything. If you look like you will put up a fight, generally people will leave you alone. No one wants to attack someone when they might get it back. Usually when I was younger I accomplished this by constantly looking pissed off when walking from place to place. I'm not sure how well your GF will be able to emulate this, but I'm sure you get my drift. 2. Walk at a solid pace. I don't know how fast your GF normally walks, but I usually am moving at a pretty quick pace when walking from place to place. Don't run because this makes it seem like you are afraid, which can work against you. It is as simple as minimizing the amount of time you are in a dangerous place. 3. Be aware of what is around you. You don't need to be looking from side to side constantly, but make sure that you pay attention to what you hear and see. Sometimes being able to hear the sound of footsteps behind you can be the difference between safety and danger. 4. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right about someone you see standing around, or whatever, be ready to take off at a moment's notice. Don't run too early, because then it just makes you look like prey. However, if someone is clearly following you, it is time to figure out how to get out of that situation. 5. Always be thinking of a plan. You want to always have a plan in mind in case something goes wrong. Look at a satellite map of the path you are going to walk. Know which buildings you can go into along the way. Most likely someone who is following you is not going to try and rob you in a restaurant full of people. Make sure that you know which of these safe spots you are closest to at any point along your route. 6. If all else fails, don't be afraid to take a cab or the bus, depending on how far you need to travel. Sometimes, paying $20 is well worth it to avoid any unnecessary risk. Grew up in a rough area of North Las Vegas. One of our apartment neighbors was this guy that ran with a Mexican gang and sold drugs. One day my brother and I are playing in front of our door when we see about 3 biker dudes roll up. They knock on the door and politely ask our neighbor's wife if her husband was home. She says yes, and he comes to the door. Within seconds they yank him from his doorstep and proceed to beat him up with pipes they pulled out of seemingly nowhere. He's screaming, pleading for help, wherein steps neighbor 2. This guy was about as hardcore gangbanger as you can get. He screams down and says he's coming, at which time the bikers proceed to run out towards the parking lot. They haven't reached the lot when shots ring out. Boom. 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 Glass shatters and you can hear bullets hitting steel. Neighbor 2 legit tried to murder these dudes in front of us. By now my mom is screaming, rounding us up to come inside. We go upstairs to ride out the police questioning that will follow. The cops show up and knock, but my mom refuses to open the door. We never talked to police. That is how you survive in those places. If it doesn't involve you, you saw nothing. Even if it did, you still didn't see anything. Very memorable part of my childhood. Couple years ago I was leaving my house for uni when I heard a huge bashing sound coming from my neighbor's house, who I didn't know well, but had always seen around and chatted to occasionally. I lived with my bro, and it was a rough neighborhood with lots of break-ins and fights, so I always tried to keep my head down and be polite. Anyway, I had a look and saw a guy who later turned out to be a plainclothes policeman with a battering ram breaking into the house. Police then swarmed the house and removed about 4 women who looked like they had been abused, a whole bunch of dudes, and a shit ton of drugs and weapons. Turns out they were running a brothel and had been monitored by police for months. I knew something dodgy was going on because guys would come and go in the middle of the night and could always smell weed, but I had no idea it was that serious. Turns out they were keeping the women hooked on drugs and threatened them if they ever leaves the house. Scary stuff. Was always polite to them and kept my head down whenever possible. This was in the UK, but I guess the same thing would work anywhere else. I grew up with drive-by shootings and gang activity in general. I feel like a lot of important childhood memories are interlaced with weird neighborhood crap. The day we got our first puppy, my friend across the street pulled a gun on his dad. When the cops showed up he ran down the street and turned the gun on himself. Everyone was fine that day, but I'll never forget having a new puppy and not being able to take it to the bathroom because we could get shot. I also learned to treat everyone with respect. People were stabbed to death next door. Drive-bys hit the house 2 doors down. No one ever shot us though. People looked out for us. In junior high I was chased home often by men yelling that they'd pay me for my services. In high school my family worked nights and I was home alone. At this point my friend across the street just got out of prison and was pissed I was home alone. He called in a favor with the Hells Angels and they patrolled my street at night. My mom said oftentimes she'd come home just as 2 motorists would drive away. They protected me for a few years. Like and subscribe for more Reddit videos.